The threat of violence or damage can be more terrifying and destructive than the act itself. Fear is a powerful emotion, and criminals have used it to control victims for centuries.
They call it shakedown, extraction, protection blackmail, leasing, better known as extortion. Sadly, extortion in its many forms has become an accepted part of Jamaican life and business.
Tonight, we discuss this growing epidemic, a crime in drastic need of a cure. This is CS311.
Crime Stop Jamaica and National Bakery, in association with TVJ and our sponsors, Guardsman, Home and Things, Careers Jamaica, Grace Kennedy, Progressive Grocers and Musson Foundation present CS311 with Deirdre Dixon and Leroy Hall.
Extortion is like a magnificent tree, planted from the seeds of fear. The fruit of the tree is money, with millions of dollars paid weekly by victims, desperate to avoid danger to their safety, family, property, business, and even their reputation.
Pay with your pocket or pay with your life? A difficult choice. We turn to the experts for answers.
The extortion phenomena within Jamaica have seen persons operating as larger groups, as part of criminal organizations, sometimes even acting alone or in smaller groupings. The income generated by extortion, albeit cannot be quantified by law enforcement at this point, we know that that income, most of it, does go into the purchasing of illicit weaponry, corrupting public officials or attempts to corrupt public officials, among other illegal activities. Extortion does affect small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and larger companies as well. Over time, we have seen even in communities, the criminals exert undue pressure on even the persons living within these communities. They call them tax. They demand payment for protection, among other things. The undue pressure that these criminals exert on businesses come in several forms. We have actually seen businesses close their doors because of this particular pressure that the criminals put on the payments. So there are different levels that we have seen as far as these criminals pressuring the business community, the business people. Persons faced with this challenge of extortion should endeavor to seek the intervention of law enforcement agencies in a discreet way. We have the Counter-Terrorism and Organised Crime Branch. You have other trusted persons you may know over time in the law enforcement agencies. You have the divisional commander or other persons within the division that you're comfortable in speaking with on these issues to have it properly resolved. The Jamaica Constabulary Force seek to address this particular issue by ensuring that we control the spaces, we deny the criminals freedom of movement, we ensure that we investigate all reports to its fullest in a discreet way, and we take action whenever it's necessary for us to do so. Persons must not be afraid to reach out to law enforcement because we are here to serve and protect citizens of Jamaica.
Thank you, Inspector Green. Clearly, the criminals are not backing down. But it will only get worse if we hold up our hands and surrender. More on extortion in a moment. But first, our featured crime.
On September 24, 2016, explosions shattered the early morning silence of Drapers Heights community in Portland. Dead lay two men. One of them had just returned to the island to bury a loved one. Unfortunately, the only funeral he was preparing to attend was his home.
Just east of Port Antonio, Portland, is the quiet dormitory community of Drapers Heights, where in the very early hours of that fateful Saturday morning, the gruesome double murder was committed.
Hassan, where you there? Hassan, how you there?
One occupant was tied up, brutalized and robbed.
I don't know. Where is it?
The downstairs.
Mr. Leroy McCoy was shot to death on an upstairs veranda.
No.
And two others locked themselves in a secure room. The murderers found Mr. Azan Anderson possibly asleep in his van and shot him several times in the face and chest. Both men were pronounced dead at the scene.
Left behind at the scene of the crime were 32 spent shells, 8 warheads, 1 live 9mm round. Without a doubt, the purpose of this attack was nothing other than murder. But why?
My brother Azan and I had a very good relationship growing up, and we have not seen each other for a while. Him coming to Jamaica would have been a reunion. However, I didn't know what was going on until I got here. I found out that he was dead. It was devastating, and it's still unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Actually, it was nothing that I could do except for crying. I wasn't even able to come in to see his body, but I was outside, and it was hard. It was very hard for me. They said if you live by the gun, you die by the gun. But I really don't know my brother as a person with guns or would intimidate anyone with guns. He would fight you with his hands or something, or talk a lot because he's really funny. If one should come forward, it would help me. It would help my family, my mother that mourns all the time, my father, and also the rest of my brothers and sisters that are still in mourning. I think if one should come with some information that could help, it would be one of the best things for my family.
The truth did not die with Azan Anderson and Leroy McCoy. All the answers to this crime can be found somewhere among the living. Someone must know something.
An act like this strikes fear into the heart of anyone. But that is the power of Crime Stop. It's within reach, anonymous, and safe. A $100,000 reward is being offered for information leading to the arrest and charge of those behind this crime. What are you waiting for? It's easy to say, stand up and fight. But the consequences can be deadly. How can individuals protect themselves when an extortionist comes knocking at their door? This information may help.
Did you know? Brought to you by Careers Jamaica. It's a chilling feeling to realize that you've become the target of extortion. But panic is not the answer. You can beat them at their game. Never jump to accept a demand out of fear. Giving in will only feed the monster. Advise the police immediately of threats to life or property and demands for money or benefits. Don't make an alarm or an announcement. Be calm and try to preserve the physical or other evidence. If the threat was done by phone, note the date, time and number from which the call originated. If possible, record all subsequent conversations with the suspects. Do not withhold any relevant information from the police. When speaking with extortionists, note the details about the individuals: name, address, telephone number, mode of travel. Also note the description of the person, the method of the payment requested, the time and frequency, and any demands or threats issued. Most of all, improve security by installing cameras and devices that are capable of recording evidence. And if necessary, pay close attention to those around you. Never rule out conspiracy between extortionists and staff, or even members of the household.
Remember, the The most effective way to deal with attempted extortion is to report it immediately.
We turn now to our missing segment. Have you seen any of the following people? Any information you have could help.
Missing, brought to you by Progressive Grocers. 81-year-old Louise Brissett of River Drive, Yallis in St. Thomas, has been missing since Friday, February 16, 2018. She's of dark complexion and slim build. Miss Brissett was last seen at home at about 4 p.m. Her mode of dress at the time she went missing is unknown. 47-year-old Kenrick Evans of Bernard Lodge District, St. Catherine, has been missing since Tuesday, May 9, 2017. He is of dark complexion, medium build, and about 170 centimeters tall. Mr. Evans was last seen at about 6 p.m. in his community. He was wearing a black cap, green jeans, blue plaid shirt, and a pair of black and blue shoes.
Jamaica is fast developing into a techno-savvy society. The trade-off is that as we become more sophisticated, the extortionists are too.
Now that they have discovered cybercrime, all of us are at risk. Warren Williams of the Cybercrime Unit gives us the inside story.
Cybercrime is growing globally, not only in Jamaica. It's a challenge globally. As technology grows, and the research would have shown by the minute, there's something new. It's challenging for security personnel, law enforcement and otherwise. But from a criminal perspective, we could say one of the offenses we have seen is the breach of the Cybercrime Act. I think is specifically a provision 4, where using a computer with an intent to commit an offense. It's the way of the world. Things are getting smarter, things are being made smarter. We now have what we call the Internet of Things, where just about everything that is fully digital is connected, which means you're a part of a network, you're on the go, you access Wi-Fi, you're on the go, you exchange data. The Internet has no borders. The Internet is unregulated. So we must be aware and be careful of the things we share. Speak about oversharing. Use technology for the good and be aware that there is a negative side of it. You have the internet, you have the dark web, you have all sorts of organized criminal activities now being done on the internet. You have human trafficking, breaches of the intellectual property, identity theft. All the traditional crimes are now being facilitated by technology. So we have to be wary, we have to be careful. Business email compromise is one thing that is growing. We do a lot of our business with emails. We do a lot of, private emails, and it's easy. The criminals are now sending you an attachment, sending you something that you are familiar or accustomed with. Let's say, for example, maybe your alma mater, something about your school, something about a jury list. A jury list is never ever sent by an email. But because things are getting smarter and smarter now in terms of the technological way of doing things, the computer has an history of your browsing history and some of the sites that you normally visit. So, for example, if you shop on Amazon, it may send you something in an email, say, okay, people who normally shop on Amazon, you may win a free ticket, you may win, something, a $50 gift or voucher. You will be tempted to click on that, but you're not realizing that in that attachment or in that email is what we call a malicious code, a malicious software, which allows a criminal, once it's dumped onto your smart device, it gives the criminal access to your data. It could be, confidential data, sensitive data. It could be a business. It could be personal. It could be your date of birth. And of course, this is what is gaining traction. A malicious code is dumped on your system. You do not realize that it is running in the background, but it has access to a lot of personal and sensitive information. Once we are educated along that line, then Jamaica data space and persons and business should be a more secure environment for us all to work, to live, and to make Jamaica a better place.
So, after listening to Inspector Williams, consider this. Are you doing anything to expose yourself to cybercrime? Bad news is our daily diet, and it's easier to look away. But hiding is only a temporary solution. Be curious, pay attention, and watch out for this scam.
Grace, look, the car run out of gas. And it look like I leave my wallet. I must have leave it at home. Yes, Grace, me know you want to see your daughter, but you know it's night. And I don't like to travel when night come down. She alright. She in the car sleeping. Grace, what you want me to do? Eh? Look, I will talk to you later.
Excuse me, I couldn't help but overhearing your conversation. Are you okay?
I told her, just wait until tomorrow. She just don't listen.
I heard you say you have a child in a car.
Yes, she's sleeping. This just is the worst night ever.
Oh, is there any way I can help?
Please, my little daughter. Me and her mother haven't been on good terms.
So sorry to hear.
I tell her that I will carry her tomorrow. But she just a demand a reach tonight and bop. Me run out of gas. Now I come to the cash machine and I realize that I leave my wallet at home.
Oh, that is really bad.
And what hurt now is that me leave the child in the car. They pick me in the car. I just need little gas.
Okay. Here is $3,000. I don't know how far it will get you, though.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mom. God bless you, Mom. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
This is a difficult one. There are persons out there in real distress. But how do you know who is real from who's fake? Simple. Don't give them money. If it's gas, buy them gas. If it's food, buy food. You have to be really careful nowadays, or else dog nyam your supper. Don't be scammed.
What's the use of complaining about crime if we are not prepared to do our part to stop it? The men you are about to see are wanted criminals. One simple call could help put them behind bars.
Davin Clark of Maho Drive, St. Jago Grove, St. Catherine, is wanted in connection to a charge of shooting with intent for an incident which occurred on Thursday, November 2nd, 2017 at 9:45 p.m. in his home community of Maho Drive. Anthony Blair, otherwise called Paulie or Molly Bum, of Jupen District, Bogwalk, St. Catherine, is wanted in connection to charges of rape, incest and indecent assault committed on Thursday, February 1st at Jupen District. Glassford Lewis, otherwise called Ricky, of Winchester District, St. Thomas, is wanted in connection to the murder of Michael Lloyd Morgan, committed along the Golden Grove Main Road, St. Thomas, on Sunday, February 4, 2018.
Criminals love the element of surprise. But don't be surprised. Be prepared. These tips are for you.
Safety Tips, sponsored by Guardsman.
As we study the patterns of the criminal element, we realize that there are a number of things. First of all, the criminal is selective as to who they are going to target, who they are going to attack, who they are going to scam. And what do they do when they select this person? They first of all look for your confidence, how confident you are in what you do, how you go about your business. They are looking at your awareness. How aware are you of what's going on around you? They look at your ability to sense changes in the environment. They look at your willingness to make eye contact. If you're afraid to make eye contact, it means you're uncertain of yourself, you're insecure. But if you're able to stare them straight in the eye and look at them, you have done two things. I am aware of you. I am also aware of what you look like. And therefore, they're not going to want to target you. We also need to ensure that we act in a way that is conscious. We know what we're doing. We're not fumbling around. We're not trying to find out where we're going or the way to where we're going. We are certain of everything that we are doing. They don't like that because you are fixed with purpose. The other thing that we have to ensure is that we are not timid. We are bold. We need to say what we want. We need to do what we want. And if necessary, if somebody is coming into your space and doing what you are not comfortable with, don't be afraid about being rude. Try and be as nice as you can, but be firm. And if it's necessary, be rude to take them out of your space. The criminals are just afraid of being hurt as we are afraid of being hurt. And therefore, if we take the right attitude and certainty in our purpose, we become less of the target. We need to ensure that as we have that air of confidence and that attitude about us, that we also ensure that we lower the target. We don't want to have lots of cash. We don't want to be flashing that cash around. We don't want to have the cell phone to our ears nonstop and not being aware of what's around us. We need to ensure that we minimize the attractiveness and also minimize the attractiveness by our certainty and our purpose.
Whether in person or by phone, face-to-face or virtually, there will always be someone determined to gain something for nothing. No work, no sacrifice.
But the police force has reported that the main reason criminals like extortionists continue to prosper is because we are unwilling or afraid to expose them.
Let's change that today. With Crime Stop, you can speak out without standing out. I'm Leroy Hall.
And I am Deidre Dixon. Join us next week on CS311.